So as we were talking, I mean, dismissed teachers or a teacher that were facing non-renewal or dismissal, they have their rights, they have the process and everything. All I will say is I know in our school district, if we get to this process before we're even imagining going down this road with a teacher, we're going to get a hold of our attorney. We're going to, we go and we sit in on all the law meetings, the seminars. I don't know how many webinars and everything I've sat in. I go to admin days, sit in on everything I can legally, but I'm still not a lawyer. I'm a public school administrator. And if I want to keep myself, everything went away. If I want to keep myself and everybody else from getting in hot water, we're going to call the attorney. They're going to walk us through it by step because they are going to represent the school district in a hearing anyway. So, I think that's important to know and to keep in your back pocket because I mean, there were some things early in my tenure that I wasn't sure about, and I'd asked the superintendent for advice and things like that, and we just pick up the phone and have those conversations with our school attorney. I mean, are those calls cheap? Absolutely not. Is a lawsuit against the school district a lot more expensive? Absolutely. So that's just the direction that we choose to go. Um, rights to dismiss teachers. Teachers may just be suspended without hearing if they're a danger to students or other people. I mean, moral ineptitude. If they I mean, if there's legit cause and reason to get rid of them, we talked about leave and things like that, but we can get them out of the building if need be. Um, 14th Amendment protection, right to property and liberty. This can be jeopardized by termination, but I mean, you got to go through due process, the notice the charges, the opportunity for a predetermination hearing, and there's got to be evidence that show that the charges are true. I mean, I know this has happened in districts around the country that, sometimes people go on a witch hunt for various reasons. You gotta have legit facts to go through there. Um, this is one that you've seen and it's been through. Be careful with forced resignations, kind of like, you go up to a teacher and you say, hey, we're going to go through this process, but it might look better for you if you would just turn in your resignation and do things like that. I've seen that happen before, and then all of a sudden you're calling on an applicant for something who's been left on good terms, but then you ask the person, would you hire him again? And they're like, I don't know, probably, maybe. Well, there were definitely some things going on there. Um, be careful with adverse working conditions. You can't make the teacher who's terrible do everything under the sun. You can't make them serve lunch for 3 periods a day, clean the toilets, and do other things. And I've heard of these things happening. I've maybe seen some things happening in another life. So stuff happens to try to get the teacher to just quit and resign on their own. We don't want them around, but we don't want to go through the process. So we're going to make their lives absolutely miserable. Um, and remedial actions. So you have this tenured teacher. We talked about it. We need to see this steady decline going over time. So if it's a fixable problem, you have to take the steps and try the improvement plan and try to get things put into place before you can go through the termination process. You have to allow the teacher to correct their behavior. And you have to allow reasonable time for the improvement. Like the book talked about an instance where a school gave a teacher 5 weeks, said, oh, not good enough, and ran him out. The school got sued over the deal. Or in another case, the school gave the teacher 8 weeks, and that was perfectly fine. The time frame was fine for whatever it was that they needed to improve or and didn't improve on, and the courts were, I mean, the everybody was okay with that, and it went like that. But I think there's a lot of things, we talk about discipline and dismissal and things like that. I think there's a lot of people out there that just need the guidance, and if you really put in the work on your end as an administrator, then I don't think anybody gets into teaching to be a terrible teacher. Um, Now, are there things that you have to immediately get rid of? Yeah. Do people become bad teachers? Unfortunately, yeah, over time. But I think if you catch things and people are willing to work with you, I think we can hopefully avoid these situations as much as possible. Anybody got anything on this chapter? Anything else?
I would just reiterate, this is the least desirable process to be in as an administrator. So anything
That's
you can do to avoid it, I would do it. Um, because it's just it puts a pit in your stomach. And even people that I've had to be involved with this process that I see 5 and 10 years later, I still think about that and what I wish would have been different. So and sometimes there's nothing you can do different as an administrator, but if there is, I would do whatever that is to try to keep someone
Yep.
that's worth saving.
No, that's just I agree. That's the discipline of the adults and doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, I like you talked about it earlier is the teaching lessons part and growing from it and doing all of that kind of stuff. I think that that's an important part because we do it with kids all the time, and hopefully we can do some of this with adults too, and correct and move on and learn from some mistakes before anything gets bad. All right, guys, if that's it, that will put a bow on chapter 14.